I'm Shotgun Tom Kelly, president of the Pacific Pioneer Broadcasters, Hollywood Media Professionals, and we've been honoring people in the entertainment world since 1966. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our archives, and we're going to show you some of the people that we've honored from the past. And now, here's Lily Tomlin.
Well, thank you all. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Gene, so much. Thank you all. This is, it's really been fun this afternoon. Probably my friends, I count them among the biggest exaggerators and liars and embellishers that I've ever existed. And I'm just tickled to death that they're willing to put their integrity on the line this way. I have to say, I'm like a starlet, because no matter what anybody brought up today, I could tell you a story about. No matter what, if they had talked about, a massacre, over at the desk in the hotel part, I would have remembered. I did live here once for 2 months, and I enjoyed it immensely. And I did really. I had a room. And I had my cats in a room, and I had everything draped in plastic. I had them take all the furniture out. And so the cats had a good place to live for the time being. Anyway, that's nothing I was going to get into. But I wanted you to know that I do have Sportsman's Lodge experience. And they make a good BLT over there. The bacon is usually very crisp. But the Avalon Theater, I have to tell you this because Allie brought up the Avalon, and I was 14 when and my girlfriend Susie was 15, and we were supposed to be 16, but we were working illegally, and then the boss would make us hide upstairs when the people would come from the schools. We went to school. We weren't like dropouts. I was absent 1 year out of 3 cumulatively in high school, but that's another story. And I literally would stay out of school 12, 13 days in a row if my hair didn't turn out right. And I almost didn't come this morning because it hasn't been easy dealing with the errant hair that I have. It has its own manner. And you, Allie, you are so brave to go out in public. Okay. But what I wanted to tell about the Avalon is my girlfriend Susie and I, and we probably did this to you and your mom, and this will also betray everything that was set up here, and you'll see now that I do not deserve it. None of it is true. I have a totally checkered and juvenile delinquent background. My girlfriend Susie and I, we would take one candy. This is the day when things weren't cellophane wrapped. That's how long ago it was. And so we would take one candy out of each box and make a big stash for ourselves, and fold the paper back up. And then we'd also take the popcorn containers, because they used to inventory them by count, And our friends would come, and we'd give them popcorn with butter and everything. And then we'd just wash the containers out and resell them. We were fabulously ingenious in our approach to mercantilism. Okay. Wait, I have to think of some more. Oh, I want to thank Kat Kramer for that wonderful performance. Going to that incredible effort to make that song and to deliver it the way you did, Kat. That was remarkable. And Shelley Goldstein, who did the special material, and Shelley Markham, who played the piano. But that was just stunning. And I'll say not too much to you, Joanne, about your Lily accolade, but. That was meant to cast aspersions on my own bus line, wasn't it?
That was the through line.
That was the through line, okay. Oh gosh, there's so many things. George, how can I ever thank George is my mentor. George is my discoverer. I used to go and audition for shows, and literally they would shrink back in horror. They would, how in the old days producers had that thing where they would press a button on the floor and their phone would ring? I have been in tears. I would go to the phone booth outside when they had phone booths. And that's what gave me the idea. No, not really. But I went to the phone booth, and I would sob. I would just be because I knew I had so humiliated myself. George immediately took to me. I don't know why that was or what, but I was incredibly lucky, George. And I used to be able to call George at any time. I'd call him from the wings of a theater and say, George, I need a joke about sports. I'm in Minnesota. And he'd say, when do you need the joke? I'd say, in about 3 minutes. I have to go on. And they're waiting. The audience is out there, and they're just doing announcements. And he'd always come through because he's a real jock. So... I can't even, I even thought of a Pioneers joke because my mother and dad are from Kentucky, and Daniel Boone was from Kentucky. And Daniel Boone, someone once asked him if he'd ever been lost, and he said, no, I can't say I was ever lost, but I have been bewildered once for 3 whole days. Okay, that's not all. Florence Henderson was mentioned. Her daughter Barbara was the little candy striper in 9 to 5 who says to me, oh, you're a doctor, when I have the corpse on the stretcher. And I look down, I say, I'm a doctor. What am I talking to you for? Piss off. And that was Florence Henderson's daughter Barbara, who's grown up and is very attractive and has a family and everything else. And you see, life comes around. And Lucille, George mentions this old character I used to do, Lucille the rubber freak, who's addicted to eating rubber objects. And not too long ago on the internet, now this monologue goes back many, many decades. No, I'm not going to do a bit of it. Oh, I can't do it. I can't. Oh, no. It's okay. It'd be like this, Lucille saying, like, she's confessing that she's a rubber freak and that it started one day she sat down to balance her checkbook and she blacked out. And when she woke up, she'd eaten the eraser off her pencil. And in no time, she was up to 20 pencils a day. And things started to disappear around the house. At first she was careful, door stops, the backs off shag rugs, the tip off mother's cane. Sometimes, she says, sometimes I'd be playing canasta with the girls. I don't know what would come over me. I'd just jump up, run into the kitchen and eat a spatula. See, but what I want to tell you about, what I want to bring you up to date on is about a year ago on the internet, I see this woman, and this was like an old classic monologue with which I was identified. So when I saw this on the internet, it was a woman who eats foam rubber. She has eaten 6 couches and like 11 or 12 chairs. No, really, and they x-rayed her. She doesn't have any blockage. We don't know why she's able to eat, and she keeps a big piece of, and she likes yellow foam better than yellow foam. I mean, yellow foam better than white foam. And I know why, because it's more porous, it's airy, it's easier to chew and swallow. And she always keeps a big hunk of that foam in her purse. And she'll just tear off a piece and eat it. And I thought, but I wanted you to know that I did predate her with my monologue. All right, no, that's okay. And then you told that joke, Gary, which was so hilarious about Kate Smith. And it reminded me of my brother Richard, who, let me just, as a side note, my brother was a very artistic kid, and he actually sawed our mother's couch into 3 pieces so that we'd have sectional furniture. And so he used to, one time our TV went out on the blink, and my dad had sent the picture tube out, big old picture tube in those days, and it was a big old console that sat on the floor, and my brother was just like absolutely fascinated with Kate Smith, and and she was quite a big portly woman, and had quite a big breast, chest like that, a wonderful dignified long sleeve dress, how ladies of that era might be who were portly. So she had very large bosoms. This puts me to mind of you too, Joanne. And my brother would get behind the TV, and who?
And me.
And my brother would get behind the TV, and he'd put big pillows in his front, and he'd sing, "When the moon comes over the mountains." You see how everything relates to our human life and how significant and important it is. And Leslie, when we worked on 12 Miles, we had so much damn fun. He would come in, he was writing one of his books at that time, and he would come in the makeup room every morning and regale us with stories that were just out of sight. We'd be screaming, laughing. And you have to know that Leslie has twin sisters who are about 2 inches shorter than he is. And you see those little sweet little chubby kids, those 3 little kids growing up together. He'd bring pictures in of those 3 in the South. I mean, my mother and dad are Southern. I know everything there is to know about the Southern culture. And y'all. So anyway, and Sally, I went to see Sally the other night at Vitello's. She's always been wonderful. And I was recounting to her the first time we met was when I was at her house and she was being fitted for her wings for Brewster McCloud. She was doing the Altman movie. Can you imagine that being your first meeting? Someone's getting fitted for their angel's wings. Anyway, I am delighted. This has been a lovely afternoon for me, and I thank heaven for these folks up here because they made it so entertaining, and I really totally enjoyed it myself. And Sam, I thank you so kindly for persisting and getting me to come here and be here and enjoy this. And Jeannie, I'm so glad that I could be here with you. And I wish you could also see Allie Willis has the Museum of Kitsch, which is an extraordinary establishment, and she's got some of the finest examples of kitsch ever assembled in one locale. And I'm just proud to have all these people as my friends and that they would come here today because I know personally if Sam hadn't invited me, I wouldn't be here today.
Thanks for joining us. You know, I can already feel the excitement building for our next Hollywood Media Professional Celebrity Showcase.